Okay, welcome. I'm going to try and show you in this video how to make your chatbot respond to longer sentences that you say by sort of searching your sentence for a particular word that you think the person may respond with. And hopefully this will make it a lot more realistic. It's also a lot more challenging. So be gentle with yourself. If something doesn't work, have a chat to the person next to you or someone who's good at Python, or come and have a chat to me. So basically, I'm going to call this reply to various options. Again, I can't stress enough, please write yourself a little comment as to what you're actually trying to achieve underneath it. When you go back to it 2 days later or somebody else reads your code, it's going to make it make so much more sense. And we call this documenting your code, and these are called comments. So reply to various options, I'll call it that. All right, so basically, um, well, before we reply to various options, we have to get various options. So maybe the computer will ask about something. So computer asks about, I don't know, sport. Let's say sport, okay? So we're going to get some input. Uh, so what sports do you like? Question mark. Now, that's valid, that'll run. It won't save the answer anywhere, so I should probably save it in a variable. Maybe I'll call it user sports or something. Um, okay, so that will save it in user sports. I can check that by just printing user sports straight away afterwards. So what sports do you like? I like football and basketball. Yep, and it printed it back, so I know that's working. It's really important to continually test every now and then to make sure, well, very often to make sure everything's working. However, I don't want to just print that back. Um, I want to reply to various options. So I'm going to show you a really cool command in Python. It's called something in something. So if I said if uh, basketball in user sports. So this code now is only going to run if my response had the word basketball in it. Okay. So if in that case, the computer is going to respond with, I don't know, yeah, that's okay if you like baskets. Remember, try and give your chatbot a bit of personality in some way. Yeah, that's okay if you like baskets. And maybe we can then time.sleep for a couple of seconds and then say print, or if you are really tall. Okay, now let me just test that. So what sports do I like? Cricket and football are nice. And then that didn't run it. Whereas if I put, I kind of like basketball. Yeah, that's okay if you like baskets or if you're really tall. Okay, so let's run it. Now, second option, if I don't know, we can say what's another one? Maybe footy in user sports. And again, we don't know what the user is going to say exactly, so we might say or football in user sports. Oops, going off the screen here. Maybe you could print again, try and print something a bit, funny or silly. Um, the computer might ask, are you talking about soccer, AFL, or rugby? Question mark. Now, I just really quickly wanted to show you again the difference between if and else if, or elif. So this code will run here if there's basketball in it. This code will run if there's footy in it. Um, the way it's set up at the moment, if I said basketball and footy, both of these things would run. So for example, if I said basketball and football, yeah, that's okay if you like baskets, or if you're really tall, are you talking about soccer, AFL, or rugby? Now that might be what you want, but if you want it to sort of break out of this section of code once it's got one match, which I want, if you put an else if, it sort of makes sense. So if this else, and it only goes on to the next section of code if this doesn't run, okay? So elif, else if, and now if I do the same thing, if I say footy, I'll do that one, basketball, footy, and it's just stopped it at that particular one. Again, you could go through, you could add as many of these as you wanted to for as many different sports as you wanted to. And then again, you could have some sort of catch-all at the end with an else. I'm really struggling with this going off the edge of the screen all the time. So else, it might say something like, I mean, you might make it realistic. Instead of saying, I don't understand, you could pretend that it's just ignoring you. So you might just get the computer to say, you know, I'm strangely, wait, that doesn't, that's an E, strangely attracted to tennis. So it's just ignoring you and it's saying that. So again, I think that'll work quite okay. What sports do you like? Cricket. And then it just tells you it's strangely attracted to tennis. It kind of ignores you, so it sort of papers over some of the cracks there. A lot of making a chatbot is sort of smoke and mirrors. Even the best ones, if you press them hard, they sort of break. So just do the best that you can. Now, one thing that I will say before I go here, which is a bit of a big problem, is somebody might say something like um, that or there's one that I've already got. So let's say basketball and tennis. Okay, we'll say golf. Now, what would we expect to happen here? So we're saying basketball, so we'd expect this to run. But in reality, it doesn't run because this capital B has thrown us off. So before I start here, I'm actually going to convert uh, the string to lowercase. Um, by the way, this part in red here and this part in red here, between the talking marks in computer science, we call that a string. Very long story. So I'm going to convert the string to lowercase. No matter what it is, I'm going to convert it to lowercase. So basically, the way that we do that is I'm going to say user sports equals. So I'm going to set something to be user sports. And then I'm going to call a function called string.lower. And whatever I put in here will get put into lowercase. So hopefully now if I went, yeah, so that's still ran there. So basically what we're saying is we're going to take user sports, put it inside these brackets, and call the function string.lower. And that's going to get a version of this that's all lowercase, and then we're going to store it in user sports. We're sort of like overwriting, saving over the top of that variable, so to speak. Again, so if you wanted this to be really realistic, you could add, 15, 16 different sports. It's up to you. Don't do sport, do movies, do whatever you like. And good luck and have fun.